Hey, what's up, fellas? I have a build that I've been trying out recently, and it is Glacier Lance Bleed build. That's right, cold and bleed. So we're just gonna go through this Zesh encounter here just to explain what is going on. But our base damage, let's get to the point, 134k, and we should get buffed up here while mapping um, up to what is this 178k, so it's decent because we had to spread some of our damage to do more bleed damage, and you'll see why in a little bit. So I'll see you guys in the boss fight. All right, sweet, sweet, sweet. So usually when I'm fighting a pinnacle boss, I would turn off Roa because I do not have enough spirit to keep cast on critical and Roa at the same time. So, and I would change Ice Bite with Incision. So what Incision does is it inflicts Incision per hit, which we're gonna hit Zesh with Glacial Lance, and the more Incision you apply on Zesh, the more magnitude of bleeding, 3% to be exact, per Incision that you apply on the target when you apply a bleed, which works really well with Rake. So how this goes is we're gonna how this goes is we're gonna hit Sesh, we're gonna apply some incision, and then we're gonna use our infernal infernal cry to buff our rake so that it could do more damage, it could do more bleed magnitude per se. And then we rinse and repeat, and when we have enough bleed, we use Blood Hunt to pretty much execute Zesh. So we're gonna try this out on tier 2 Zesh because if I make a mistake, I don't need to buy another Breach Stone and then try again. So we actually have some few tries here. So this is a build that I've been trying because um, pure Glacial Lance on tier 4 Zesh does not work well. It doesn't burn fast enough, but as you saw on the last clips that I was showcasing that it was making 14 mil burst damage, and it's only gonna get better from here, fellas, because I just started this build and I have not yet optimized it, and it's already doing this much damage. So I don't know how much I can optimize it yet. So, but I wanna do at least 20 mil by the time I put out a final build. So yeah, let's start this and you can see this in action. So Zesh is gonna pop up here. He's gonna do his little speech. So we're gonna shoot our Glacial Lance, or pop our Infernal Cry actually once he spawns. Shoot a couple, that will apply some incision on him, move from a distance, and pop Rake. And that should apply bleed as you can see there. So you can do it again to apply more bleed, and then once you press the Blood Hunt, oh, well, okay, redo. So that's why we're doing this on T2. That's why we're doing this on T2. Okay, we made a mistake. We're gonna keep it rolling, man. We're gonna keep it rolling. Okay, but as you saw the bleed, right? You saw the bleed. Gonna do it again. Infernal Cry. Oh, it's the hand again. I think we have a chance here. Dodge now. Nice. So we're gonna apply more bleed because it's not enough right now. As you can see, the Glacial Lance is pretty strong, but we could Blood Hunt this and pretty much kill him right there. So that's tier 2 Zesh. It's the same thing for tier 3, tier 4, right? It is, but in tier 4, as you saw in the last showcase, I only did 14 mil. I want to do 20 mil by the time I optimize this build. But yeah, I just wanted to showcase to you guys how it's working. So let's look at the support gems and how we're doing this. Mind you, Incision, you only need to put this on pinnacle bosses. You don't need to do this on map bosses. You can keep Ice Bite. You don't even need cast on critical on normal bosses. You can keep Roa and turn off cast on critical because your bleed and glacial lance is more than enough for any map bosses. This change, honestly, cast on critical is only necessary for pinnacle bosses. Nothing else, to be honest with you, because we have On cast on critical, we have impetus for more energy, sniper's mark to get frenzy charges for our glacial lance, frost bomb for cold exposure, so that our glacial lance can do more damage, and single out because when you break armor using sniper's mark, they will take more physical damage, and if they do take more physical damage, that means more bleed damage that we can scale. Infernal Cry is to up our melee damage. So to increase our up, by increasing our melee damage, we're increasing our bleed magnitude pretty much, or our rake damage. And that matters because the more bleed that we do on our target, the more damage Blood Hunt is gonna do. As you can see there, we just pretty much half shotted T2. And I know T2 is nothing. I think he has like 6 mil health, but it just goes to show that the power of this. Um, so let me go through quickly the support gems here. Glacial Lance, Primal Armament, Martial Tempo, Inspiration so to reduce less cost so we can spam our Glacial Lance. Cold Infusion for more cold damage because that's really what we need Glacial Lance for is cold damage and Ice Bite. That's really it. And during boss fight, like I said, we put Incision because it's going to apply that incision, and then when we pop rake, it's going to take that incision and turn it into bleed magnitude, which is great because the more bleed we get, the more damage blood hunt is going to do. So what blood hunt does is it consumes the bleed. So the more bleed you have, the more damage it'll do. Roa is self-explanatory. Combat Frenzy, you know what that is. Wind Dancer, you know what that is. Let's look at Rake real quick. Deep Cuts for more magnitude of bleeding. We have Concentrated Effect for more damage. And we have Half for more physical damage because bleed scales from physical damage. And then we have Momentum. That's why I want to back off before I activate Rake because we can deal 40% more damage if we travel at least 2 meters. And 2 meters is not a lot in this game, guys. It's like this much, right? This is like 2 meters here. So you really just gotta back off a little bit and then pop break. Um, Blood Hunt, in inevitable critical. This ensures you to have 100% more critical hit chance when you activate this. This is great because we're not spamming Blood Hunt. We're only pushing this button once or twice during boss fights, if any, right? So inevitable critical allows that crit chance to stack to 100% more. And we're going to use overextend here to create more critical damage bonus. And then bloodlust so that the target that is bleeding can take more physical damage. And elemental focus since we're just consuming the bleed. We don't need elemental ailments. So, and we also have cold. So we're also scaling Blood Hunt with 25% more elemental damage with this since it works so well because we have cold damage. So it's it's perfect. It's like a perfect combination right now, cold and bleed. So if you want to see my Blood Hunt, I have 42.27% crit hit chance, and then I have 675% critical damage bonus, right? So that's hefty. So like I said, it's really your main abilities are Glacial Lance, Rake, and then Bloodhound. Then Infernal Cry is your buff. So let's talk about the gear. I'm just gonna skim over this because it's not. I'm still optimizing the build. This is not the final build. Obviously, we have Sea Glass. I have Cold and Physical, a lot of accuracy and critical hit chance and attack speed. We also have Crown of Ice, Coral Circlet. This allows you to scale spell damage into your attack. So you're like, why are you doing this, Vic? If you're wondering, we're stealing this tech from blood mages because they use this because they're using spear and they want to scale spell damage to attacks as well. And blood mages are really strong right now, and this is a staple helmet for them. So how can we use this? By using Threaded of Light. So if we use Threaded of Light, our spirit, every 10 spirit, you can gain an amount of increase in spell damage. Right now I have 13%. This is about a divine, by the way. 13% increased spell damage per 10 spirit. And I have 49 spirit on my amulet, and I also have 61 spirit. So I have 210 total spirit. So that's 210 divided by 10. That's 21 times 13. You can do the math. That's like 250% increase in spell damage. Why do we want spell damage, you ask? Because of Crown of Ice. Because any increase in spell damage apply to attacks as well. So it goes into your Glacial Lance, it goes into your Blood Hunt, it goes into your Rake, everything. So look at my amulet. I have increase in spell damage in here too, and accuracy. Spell damage, baby. And then on our passive, we also have spell damage here on our crit nodes. We have 32% increased spell damage while wielding a melee weapon. All that spell damage is going into our attacks, guys. So it's great. So this is my passive. This is a nice tangent. Passive, you want to focus on crit because you want your Blood Hunt to crit, you want your Rake to crit. So when they crit, they apply more bleed, and more bleed means your Blood Hunt does way more damage. Uh, you can take this Throat Seeker for more critical damage bonus. All these crit nodes, you have your Dex here, you have your Evasion, a little bit more evasion here, more crit damage bonus, more attack damage, and then we still want Common Calamity because this increases our cold damage by 50%. Remember, our Blood Hunt is also dealing elemental damage, so it's pretty good. It's a good synergy between those two. So we still have our skill speed because we want to spam our Glacial Lance, and then we have our accuracy. So this is some of the changes I made here. We stole this straight up from any bleed build. Is this portion here? So deterioration basically increases the magnitude of your bleed by 20%. So this is very important. You also want to take in perfectly placed knife, not necessary for aggravate build bleeding, um, with critical hits because we're always going to aggravate our bleed simply because of our boots. Our boots Beetle Bite aggravate bleeding on enemies when they're entering your presence. When you apply Rake and Blood Hunt, the most importantly Rake, because it inflicts bleeding, you will the target will always be in your presence. So any bleed that you apply is pretty much aggravated. So that is really good because aggravate means double bleed damage. Amazing. Amazing boots. Amazing boots. Combine that with the gears, with scaling our attack damage by spell damage, we're scaling everything up with spell damage and physical damage and aggravating our bleed. It's absolutely amazing. So we have these crit nodes for to apply more magnitude of bleeding when we crit. So our glacial lens can actually apply bleed as well when it crits, and even more so with incision. And then we are grabbing wasting for 15% more duration and 30% increased damage with hits against enemies affected by ailments. We're always gonna chill, we're always gonna bleed, so that's an extra 30%. It's a no-brainer. Easy 30% extra damage. So this is my skill tree. I just want to show you guys also some gems. So if you look at my sapphire, I have cold damage, critical damage, and then 14% increased magnitude of ailments. So I think I have another one here, 14% increased magnitude of ailments as well. So that's increasing our bleed damage. And if you look at my amulet, we have lasting trauma. So what it does is 30% increase magnitude of ailments you inflict. That means 30% more magnitude of bleed because bleed is an ailment. Bleeding. Bleeding scales from physical damage. So that is a quick rundown to this build. This is my gear. Let's spam or let's glaze over this real quick. We have our rings. We have physical and cold, um, I have 73% evasion. I have 39% fire resistance because I refuse to believe resistance actually helps in this game. But I can easily slot, like for example, look at my body armor. It has 2000 evasion rating. I can easily slot 2 fire resistance in here, but I don't see the point to be honest. Or I can put instead of mana regen, I can put fire resistance into here. Instead of accuracy, I can put fire resistance in here. So I can cap my resistances, but I don't really care for resistances. Um, so yeah, our amulet has spirit, accuracy, spell damage. We have threaded light. Our other ring has physical damage, cold damage, more cold damage. So that's how we're scaling our damage here. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Leave a like, leave a comment. Let's build. Let's make this the best, like literally the best Huntress build ever. Okay, so leave some suggestions below on how we can reach a 20 million burst damage and how we can scale our damage even further.